Howdy, hey, how are you doing today? I'm the Moon Frog, and in this one, we're hopefully gonna finally get our rotating assembly fully assembled and rotating. And if we're lucky, we'll get the heads on and the whole thing sealed up. So let's get right into it. So, I sealed this up before I left for Halifax, and I'm kind of curious to see if the coating of oil protected it. All right, so from what I can see, it is pretty well as clean as it was, except that one spot. I must have missed it. That's very good. And even all the main journals stayed very clean. So what I'm gonna do now is set the crank in there with the new bearings. We're gonna measure them again. Hopefully they'll measure right. If they do, then we'll get the rest of the rotating assembly assembled, the timing set, and then we'll rotate it to see if everything moves properly. If everything goes well, we will clean up the heads, set the head gaskets, hopefully get the entire thing sealed up, and yeah, I don't know. Measure that up, do all the tedious stuff, and then if everything's okay, I will set a time lapse and build the whole thing. Yeah. All right, so we got our crank in, our bearings in, and some plastic gauge on there. And if you can see here, oh, looks good to me. Might be a little bit on the tight side, but if everything was done properly on this crank and the block when it was machined, it should be fine. So now it's time for a time lapse of slapping it all together. Alright, well it is now nighttime, and well, I got most of the pistons installed into the block. We are 6 out of 8, and 2 of the rings broke while I was installing them. Could that be because I was just using a hose clamp? That's very possible, but I'm gonna look for some spare rings somewheres somehow, and when I find them, we'll slab the 2 last pistons. But in the last clips, you guys seen that I jumped right into taking the heads apart and getting them ready to be cleaned up, put some new seals on the valve stems, and all the surfaces are now clean and ready to be pinched down on a gasket. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to bed because it's past midnight now, and when I wake up, I'm gonna jump right into degreasing the inside of the heads, maybe hitting them with the power washer if I can, if it's nice enough outside, while keeping the search going for those piston rings. And after that, we are pretty well ready to finish the engine refresh section of this crunch time episode. Here's something cool though. So this engine was rebuilt many years ago, I believe, before being stored. And well, you can see from these ones, these were pretty fresh seals for the valve stems. And then you can see these ones, which are probably the original seals from the engine. And turns out that when I was taking the keepers off the valves, these little things, most of them were seized in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the last guy that did it got tired of the 2 last valves and just left the old seals on there. So there's no way these were actually sealing anything. Luckily, we have a brand new set of them, and we have everything else to seal up this engine and make it a brand new one. So I'm gonna go get some rest, and then we'll jump right back into it. Well, this is taking forever, but you get the basics. I put this down, I press the spring, I put the clips, I release it, and we have a valve installed. So let's skip to something different. And that, my friends, was the last valve installed in the head of the driver's side of the engine. Passenger side is all done. Now I'm just going to slap the rocker on there. Both the heads are going to be ready for some push rod actions. We got another rear axle. Right, so why another axle, you may ask? Well, if you remember, on this side of the car we still have the wrong axle since the Ford 8.8 has been narrowed. So this axle is way too long and we need a driver's side axle for that passenger side now. because they're equal length. And turns out it was cheaper to get a full axle from the junk or from someone's scrap pile than just to buy a single axle shaft. So we got the full axle, and now we have some extra spare parts, like some nicer wheel stud, a nice rear cover, and maybe even a different set of gears if we need it. But for now, I'm just gonna pull that rear cover off. We're gonna take the C-clips out, take this that short axle. Yeah, that axle. We're gonna take that axle out, slap it in the accent, and then we can put all the C-clips in, set the axle in for good, and then we can actually move the car without the axles falling out, because right now we're missing C-clips. But yeah, I'm gonna tear that apart. We're gonna slap that in there. Somewhat of an exciting segment, I guess. So now that the axle is shorter, the wheel is sitting way further in, and we are having some rubbing issues. That might work. Fucking mint. Pretty sure we could fit mudding tires on here now. Might as well slap it on there for good. Now to the other side. You know, that's a real good stress reliever. Ribbit. Still a little tight. "13 more days, my dudes. 13 days to get this car up and running. I'm just one guy working on it, and I don't even know what I'm doing. It's crunch time. You're just crunching for time. And tire clearance. I have all the room in the world in the back here. Could even put your mom back there. But in the front here, I don't even think you could fit your little pecker in there. I'll get back to you guys when the tires actually fit. Alright, so now that the rear is fully clearanced and good enough to fit this first set of tires, afterwards we're probably going to downsize for the rear and keep it smaller and less grippy, just to save up on the car. The thing now is that we are hitting on the lip back here, and we want to get as much steering as we can on both sides. So I'm going to turn the wheel the other way, we're going to massage that lip inside, and we're going to see if the steering rack allows us to get just that extra little bit of steering. And that's all we got. So I guess the steering rack really did not have much more in store for us, but at least now we have 2 cunt hairs of clearance. And we also found a new spot to repair, because the body is now separating. Oh, so much more adding on to the list. Alright, so here's a little update. We got the body pretty well finished up. We got it all banged in and the tires are now fitting. Now the problem, we have 12 days left and the 396 just won't be ready. Now, good thing, I had a backup plan, which is the backup engine. That was also in the cube truck when we picked out the 396. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go pull that one out, because we know it runs and it ran when we pulled it. Since it's a big block, it's the same mounting position and everything, so we're just going to replace the 396 by a 454 for the car show. And then if I can have the 396 ready for August 15, then maybe if it's broken in and everything, we'll run it for the Burnout comp. But for now, that's going to be it for this one. We got the body ready, the axle is fully done, and well, the engine is on its way home. So it's all good news. Kind of. Now I'm going to start editing this video, and at the same time I'll get right back to work slapping that 454 in the car, and hopefully in the next video we might have something that runs or makes some kind of noise. Thanks for tuning in. This was Crunch Time episode 3, I think. And till next time, go out, be rad.